Good morning, class. In previous class, we have started this aluminothermic process, but I haven't completed that. So, I was telling you that when this is aluminothermite process, when it is used. Okay. So, for this, if this the first we can use two reducing agent. The one is called is economical, and the another is expensive. Economical, easily available, and effective. Then only we will use coke. Another is aluminium. So now the question is that when do we use this aluminium? When do we use this aluminium? So this is used when you can't use this carbon. Aluminium is used when you can't use this carbon. Got it? Why so? Because metal is very reactive. This Mn metal is reactive and this MnO bond is quite strong. Got it? So here the carbon is unable to remove the oxygen from manganese. So that's why this carbon is not used. Okay. Are you is it clear? Another thing is that this reaction is exothermic. That means it produces high amount of heat. And the advantage of this method is that it is an exothermic. So large amount of heat is produced. Heat is liberated. And that is why we use this word thermite process. Due to this production of this heat, due to this release of this heat, we name it as a thermite process. Got it? So now you can okay, if I want to balance it, this equation, I need to balance this equation, then I would take this to be like here it is. This is 3 and this is 2. So to make it balance, here it will be 3 and here it will be 2. So it will 4 over here and 3 Mn, isn't it? So this reaction is balanced now. Now, coming to the second method for this aluminothermite process, this second method, this one, and that is called aluminothermite process. Also use this ferric oxide. We can use this. So this is first one. We can second. We can use the ferric oxide. And instead of this MnO2, we will use ferric oxide. This is Fe2O3 plus aluminium, and that will give you Fe and aluminium oxide along with this heat. That is for sure. Okay. So to make this balance, what we have to do? Nothing else, like this, and this is balanced. Okay. This we will take in powder form. Any doubt in this? It's balanced. So these two, whenever it is asked that what is aluminothermite process, you are supposed to write the definition that aluminothermite process is the process in which we use aluminium as a reducing agent. And when this aluminium reacts with this MnO2, it forms this and with a large amount of heat. Or you can use this equation. There are two equations you can learn for this aluminothermic. Both the above equations are example of aluminothermite process. Okay, but if you want to learn only one equation, so in that case I would advise to you to learn this equation only. Okay, as it has some physical some practical application also. Has some practical application. And before that, I just want to tell you one thing, practical application. Okay, what is that? I will tell you just in a minute. Before that, I want to tell you this will be in the molten form. Okay, this is in the molten form. This heat produced is in large amount. Okay, so due to this, it melts the metal produced, and that's why the metal we get from this process is in molten stage. Got it? Okay, and what is the practical application of this equation? This is used to repair the railway tracks. To repair the railway tracks. How it is? Let me explain you. Suppose that in the railway track, if there is a crack, if there is crack, so what we are supposed to do? In that case, we need to replace it, isn't it? But by this aluminothermite process, the crack of the railway track can be easily repaired. As for example, suppose that this is the track, and like this, it is the track over here. So here you get the crack. Suppose that this is the crack you get. So what you have to do in that case, if you will not remove it, not replace it, the train would not run smoothly, and accident chances are there, will be there, isn't it? So in order to stop this accident and all that, we need to replace it. It will be very inconvenient, very expensive also. So by using this second equation, Fe aluminothermic process with Fe2O3, we can repair it. How it? In this case, what we have to do, we have to just use this Fe2O3, that the powder form, and then aluminium in the solid form, and both the powder we will take, we will mix them, got it, and that powder will be filled in this crack. That mixing these two powder will be filled in this crack, and then okay, so this crack will be filled, and now let the train move on it. The train moves on this, it will produce a high amount of heat. Due to that heat, this reaction will occur like this. It will form Fe and Al2O3, and this heat will be liberated due to this what? Due to this, when the train would move on that. So due to this heat produced, this will be in the liquid form or molten form, we can say. Now this molten form will be like here, and so when it will cool, it will the crack will be now repaired. Okay, and this aluminium O3, aluminium oxide, will somewhere in that crack over there. So it doesn't like we don't have to take care of that thing. It is not our concern. Got it? So this is the way we can repair our what we say, cracks of railway track. So this is the application, and this is the most asked question from this topic. Okay. So now moving towards the third step, and that is reduction by electricity. Reduction by electricity. In that reduction, we have done with the four process. First, by simply heating. Second, by using carbon reducing agent. Third, by using strong reducing agent, that is like aluminium. And third is this reduction by electricity. We are going to do this. Okay. So in this step, this is the fourth step, that the last step of that what we say, reduction. Okay. So this is the fourth step, reduction by the electrolytic reaction. Now what we have to do in this, when would you use this electrolytic reduction? The first question, that when we do use this electrolytic reduction. Okay. So this method is used for highly reactive metal. Highly reactive metal. Okay. Metal compounds like sodium compounds, yes, potassium compounds, like this. So in this metal compound, what we have to do, we pass the electric current and we directly get this metal. Got it? We'll get the metal, and that is the purpose that we want, isn't it? So now what we have to do, suppose that metal compound is NaCl. NaCl is the metal compound, and we know that it is very high reactive. Sodium is highly reactive. So for this compound, like no need to convert this into the sodium oxide. Why? If we will try to convert it into sodium oxide, this is being highly reactive. This reaction won't be easily possible because it is very vigorous reaction. It is exothermic reaction and it can explode. Got it? So this reaction is not possible by simply converting it into oxide. Okay. Now the second method is by using carbon as a reducing agent. Carbon. So this process is also not possible. Why? Because Na sodium is highly reactive element. Okay. So this carbon, not even aluminium. Okay. Carbon is not able to break this bond. This ionic bond is there and strong bond is there. So this carbon cannot break this bond of sodium and chlorine. So that's why this is also not used. Now the third method is aluminium as a reducing agent used. This is also not possible. Why? Because sodium is more reactive than aluminium. Got it? So aluminium is not able to break this bond between Na and Cl. Are you getting it? So now what are we left with? We are left with the fourth process, and that is by electric reduction. Got it? So this is possible in this case, and how it is done? Let me start with this. So in this compound, in this like method, we use this NaCl molten. Okay, why not? Why not it is aqueous? That I will tell you afterward. We have to take that just first of all, you should know that sodium chloride is an ionic compound. Yes, is an ionic compound, and we know that ionic compound carries current, or ionic compound conduct electricity only in case of molten or aqueous state, isn't it? That we know. So that is the reason that we have to take NaCl molten. Why not aqueous? I will tell you later on. Okay. So when this NaCl molten, when we pass electric current through it, okay, electric current through this molten NaCl, this compound will decompose into its respective ions, and that is Na plus and Cl minus. Got it? So now these ions will move towards the respective electrodes. So we know that in the electrolytic cell there are two electrodes. One is called cathode. Cathode is always negatively charged terminal, and anode, which is positively charged. Okay. So cathode, let me write over here. Cathode is negatively charged. Negatively charged, isn't it? So, and anode is positively charged. Okay. So this Na plus, this is positive charged, isn't it? So this, where it will move? It will move towards the negatively charged electrode. Got it? That means it will move toward the that cathode, and this is negatively charged. That means it will move. It will start moving towards the positively charged electrode, that is anode. Got it? This is, let me write here, electrode. So now what will be the equation? First, let's start with this equation. So there are two electrode, that means at cathode and at anode, the reaction will be there. So at first we will do anode. Okay, at anode, what will happen at anode? Anode, we know that whenever we talk about anode, it is a thumb rule that you have to learn. Anode, that means always oxidation. Okay, and oxidation, that means always gain of electron. Okay, dear. So what will happen? This will gain the electron. Sorry. This is loss of electron. Sorry, mistake. Anode, this is always loss of electron. We have done in first chapter, isn't it? Loss of electron, like this. So at anode, always the, oxidation will be there, and oxidation, that means loss of electron will be there. So what will happen? Out of these two, which one will lose? We know that the one which has taken extra electron, that will lose, isn't it? So out of this, Cl is having extra electron. So this Cl will lose the electron to form Cl2. Why I'm writing Cl2 over here? Because we know that Cl2, chlorine is a gas, and gas never exists in atomic form. It always exists in this molecular form, isn't it? So to make it to like Cl2 we want, so we have to do balance here too. And one chlorine was having one electron, so now two chlorine will have two electrons, so this will lose two electrons. So I'm writing on this side. Got it? So at anode, what we will get? Chlorine we will get. Clear? Now what will happen at cathode? At cathode, what will happen? This two electron which this chlorine has lost, that two electron will be gained by sodium, this one which is having like less sodium is here. So just make it 2 over here so that it will be easy for you. Okay. So now what we'll do, this 2 sodium plus will take these 2 electron and will be deposited on the cathode, that is Na. Got it? So this was the metal you wanted. Yes? Any doubt in this? Your purpose was to get this sodium for highly reactive metal. Yes? But what I said, that by this method also, by the reduction method, all these 4 reduction method we have done, in this method also, the metal we are getting, that is not 100% pure. It's still 90 to 95% pure. Okay. So what next we are supposed to do? We are supposed to do that refining to get the 100%, isn't it? So now in this case, if we want to get this pure metal, what we are supposed to do? We have to do this electrolytic refining. So this was the fourth method, and now this was the reduction fourth method. Okay, if you can check that, I have written somewhere. Yes, here it is written. This is under reduction process. Let me mention it as a 1 2 3 4. Okay, got it. It's 3 also here also. So let me mention it. This is A, and this is B, this is C, and this is D. Got it? So it was A. This was A by heating A. This by using reducing agent was B. Okay, and by using stronger reducing agent, this was by C. This was C. Okay, and this is the fourth method. So let me write it D. Clear? So this was under the process reduction. Clear? Now the fourth and the last step, moving towards the last step of the metallurgy, that is refining. Okay, so that is the last step of refining of obtained metal. Okay, whatever the metal we obtained by all these methods. So now we will do refining. Clear? So for this we you would get all this we got 90 to 95% by all this method. And now to get 100% pure metal, we have to do the method which is in our syllabus, that is electrolytic refining. Okay, so this can be done by electrolytic refining. Okay, and we can use what metal we have to use in for electrolytic refining, that is copper. We have to use for copper, but we can also use for zinc also. Okay, zinc also we can do this electrolytic refining, but in our syllabus, in class 10 syllabus, we have to use for electrolytic refining for copper only. So let's start with this. Okay, now if this electrolytic refining of copper we are talking about, so that means, let me give the heading. Now the next heading is electrolytic refining of copper. Okay, so for this I have to make the diagram. And okay, so now by this electrolytic refining of copper, we will get 100% pure copper. Okay, almost 100% pure copper. So now let's begin with the construction, and I have drawn the diagram already, and this is the diagram over here. This is the electrolytic cell. In that there are the 2 electrodes. Okay, and one electrode I have made thick, another one is very thin. The thin electrode is attached with the negative terminal of the battery. We can say that the negative terminal of the battery, and negative terminal of the battery is cathode. Got it? While this thicker one is attached with the positive terminal battery. Is it? So that means it is positive terminal, and it is called anode. Anode is having impure copper. That means the copper with some other metals also, which we have to refine it. Okay, we have to remove it. And this cathode is a thin strip of copper. And one more thing, we have taken electrolyte. This electrolyte, what is the concept behind this electrolyte? Electrolyte is like it should be the soluble salt of metal to be refined. Okay, whatever the metal we have to refine, we have to take the soluble salt of that metal to be refined. Okay, so that means we want to refine copper. So what we will take as a electrolyte? Copper sulfate. Got it? So copper sulfate I have taken as electrolyte. Got it? Now another thing, since it is electrolytic we are using. Electro means obviously we will use This electrolytic, that means we are going to use this electricity, and to provide the electricity, obviously we have to put a battery over here. Got it? Like this. And it out in this is the setup. Okay. Now, when we begin this process, what exactly happens? Okay, we have to check. In this process, the positively and the negatively charged electrodes are there, and the impure block of this copper, that copper starts oxidizing and start coming to copper sulfate solution, to this electrolyte. So see what happens. We know that at anode there is a oxidation, isn't it? So this copper, whatever this copper is here, that will start oxidizing and will start coming in the solution in form of Cu+2. Got it? Okay. In form of copper +2 will come. Already this solution is having copper +2 ion and sulfate -2 ion, isn't it? So what will happen? This copper being oxidized will start to come in the solution, and as a result, what will happen? The thickness of this electrode will deplete, isn't it? This will start depleting because the copper is coming out in this coming out from the electrode in the solution. Yes, isn't it? So this will start depleting. This layer will be thinner होता जाएगा, and that is the like we know that why it is oxidation. This is a thumb rule, you know. At anode, previously also I have explained, at anode oxidation occurs, and oxidation, that means loss of electrons. Yes, loss of electrons. So what happens? This copper start oxidizing to form copper 2 ion and this 2 electron. Now these 2 electron, what it does do, this 2 electron start moving from this, like this. ये 2 electrons ऐसे move करता है. Got it? And it moves towards like this, and it comes to this electrode here, electrode income. So what happens? This is pure copper, this is copper. So now this copper, it will come in, these 2 electron will come through this copper cathode in the solution. So what will happen? Which already this copper +2 ion is already in the solution. That copper 2 ion plus will take these 2 electron and will start depositing on this cathode. Got it? What I am saying? The 2 electron which is lost by this cathode block now will start moving through this connection, and this will come in the solution where the copper +2 ion is already there. So what will happen? This copper 2 ion plus, now it will take 2 electrons. That 2 electron it will gain and will start depositing on the cathode. So as a result, at cathode, what will happen? At cathode, this copper 2 plus will take 2 electron and will convert into Cu, copper. So as a result, what will happen? This electrode will start becoming thick. Got it? Thick. And after that, this process will complete. When this process will be completely done, then we will remove this cathode and we can take the strip out, and we can get the copper metal. So now one question is there. Here also I am using copper, and here also I am using copper. So what is the difference between these two copper? See, this copper is from anode. Anode is impure. That means here it is still 90 to 95% copper. Got it? And this copper is at cathode. That means cathode we are getting pure copper. So that means this is 100%. Almost 100%. So this method is called electrolytic refining. Did you get this? Yes. Now, what next? Some impurities were there in this. That's why it is called impure copper, isn't it? So what will happen? This impurities will not going anywhere, will come down in the solution and will form here like this. It will deposit like this and will form, this is anode mud. Got it? There is a basic rule of this electric refining that we have to know this, that the less reactive impurities will start settling down below the anode. That means the more reactive will deplete, the more reactive element out of these. Suppose that is in this copper, I have taken in this impure copper. If I have taken that copper and any other least reactive, whatever the element, like silver, gold, silver, platinum, selenium, and something antimony. These are the impurities with the copper. Got it? So if we take in this, so what will happen? The more reactive out of these, more reactive is copper. This copper will start depositing on the cathode, and the less reactive, or we can say that the less basic, that will start settling in the bottom of that electrolytic cell near the anode, and that's why it is called anode mud. Now, surprisingly, one thing is here. Although it is mud, but it has a high importance. What is that high importance? See, this importance, the copper we got in as a strip is, and this here, this anode mud will have Ag, Au, Pt, and some precious metal like selenium, antimony, like this. Okay, out of all these metals, these two metal are costly, and their cost, which we are obtaining in the anode mud form, their cost will help to recover the expenses of this electrolytic refining. Got it? What I'm saying, the cost of this Ag and Au will help to recover the cost of this electrolytic refining. You can say that the copper is like, what's the need to do all these things? So for any process, that importance that anode mud has importance. In the anode mud, we are getting the more precious more precious element than the metal which is to be refined, which is going to be refined. Okay, so the cost of these metals will recover the cost of electrolytic. Now we will obtain from the anode mud, we will make it like, we'll dry it and sell it and get the money of and that expenses will be recovered, isn't it? So this is the process. Now one more thing I have to, that the line you are supposed to write, that highly reactive metal, you got it now? That is not sodium, that is not zinc and all that. Out of this impure strip, whatever in that impure strip, the one which is highly reactive, like in this impure strip of copper we are having this. So out of these, the copper is having highly reactive. Got it? So highly reactive metal will be obtained at cathode. Okay, while the less reactive metal will start settling down below the anode, and that is called below the anode, and that is called anode mud. Got it? So question can be asked that what is the importance of this anode mud? So you should learn it. Okay.
Electrolytic refining is a process of obtaining pure metal. The electrolyte has to be salt of the metal which need to be purified. Here we are going to refine copper. So the electrolyte will be copper sulfate solution, which is acidified. Why it is acidified? It to enhance its solubility. Okay. The anode is taken as a thick copper rod made up of impure copper. Cathode is made up of pure copper and taken as in form of anode. When the current passes through the copper sulfate, the electrolyte dissociate into its respective ions, copper 2 ion, plus 2 ion, and sulfate minus 2 ion. At anode, copper atom loses 2 electrons to the anode and change into copper ion, which comes in electrolyte. The copper ions from the electrolyte get attracted towards cathode. They gain 2 electrons from cathode and turn into copper atoms. As more as copper atom gets deposited on cathode, the cathode goes on becoming thicker. As atom of copper are coming out of the anode, anode goes becoming thinner. And the anode was made up of impure copper. So the impurities from that, they fall below and get collected in form of anode mud. Copper which was deposited on cathode is the pure copper and can be used for making electric wires or cables or utensils, etc.
Got it? So for the electrolytic refining, you should know that the current should be passed, that what is that electrolytic refining, for what it is done, for what type of element it is done, okay, what is the construction of the cell, and the next important is anode mud. This is very important thing. We can use this process for zinc also, as I have already said. Okay, so with this topic I am concluding, I'm going to conclude my class for today. Okay, so later on next topic we will do in next class. Till then, thank you class.